Hey everybody, James with Inside Enduro. It's Friday, man. We're all pretty psyched around here. We're getting ready for the big Christmas bike giveaway, and we're slapping this sweet smart carb on it. And we had a lot of questions of why we'd put a smart carb on. They come with a Keihin, which we all know has been around forever. I'll call it the GOAT, you know? It's one of the best things in the dirt bike industry, and the Keihin, especially the PWK 36, has been around for a long time. The Shercos come with the Keihin Shorty. We thought we'd take you through a comparison between the smart carb and the Keihin. It's a 36, which is the manifold diameter, versus the 36 PWK Shorty Airstrike that comes on the Sherco. Little history, let's look at it. You know, why is Keihin been the best? And the moral of the story is they work. They come with the bike. You don't have to pay anything extra for them. But for those of you who have carbureted bikes, you know you do have to mess with the jets. You do have to do some tuning. It's a mechanical, so we pretty much, anyone who's ever taken one of these apart, it's pretty simple, unless you strip the bolt that holds the needle in, which happens from time to time. However though, it's simple. We know it works, relatively inexpensive to manufacture. Obviously Keihin, not made in the US. And they're on a lot of the bikes, man, because they're good. So going through, you know, what is going on with the Keihin? It's a fairly simple design. Most of us know how to work with it. You essentially, as you know, you have your choke, you have your idle control, you have your air screw, you know, you're trying to be 1 to 2 turns out. You got your float bowls. Nice thing about them is that we really know how it works, and most of us can take one of these apart, and besides stripping out the nut that holds the throttle cable in, it's pretty easy to deal with. But you know, what are some of the downsides of the Keihin? Now again, I consider this probably the greatest of all time. The thing works, comes with your bike, you don't have to pay anything extra. Couple things that it doesn't do as well: you have to consistently tune them to keep them right on point, but when they're on point, they're pretty awesome. You turn your bike over, you dump your bike, you even go in extreme downhill. It's pouring out of your overflow. You're climbing a super steep uphill, it's coming out of your overflow and sucking in all the gas at the same time to give you that power. And then you have these other 4, basically your vents, and depending on how extreme you get, fuel can come out of any of those as well. So one thing you definitely see with the Keihin, and I think this really isn't debatable, is that it doesn't get super fuel mileage. Obviously, the better tuned, you can look at using different needles, etc. One of the things guys have done, since the overflow can be such a fuel suck, is take it and loop it over the top to at least give it a second, so that if you're just there for a little bit, it's not just doing a big douche out the bottom. So some guys, if you close it off, I think that can cause some other problems, but a lot of guys will take this tube, loop it up, just to try to, you know, help it out a bit. I don't know scientifically how much that helps. I don't know. I mean, we've never measured how much spooge comes out. If somebody does that or has the time, please do it. Make a video, send it to us. It'll be fun. Other than that, you know, that's pretty much it. The thing works, comes with your bike. Definitely wins the award for looking like an octopus when you compare it to the smart carb. So when we go to the smart carb 2, this is the 36 as well, which is the distance across this manifold section. Little different animal. Octopus versus this is pretty sexy. It's kind of blocky, but I tell you what, you can get virtually most colors in the bowl. Extra 50 bucks. But let's talk about the smart carb and why we're putting it on this giveaway bike. So it has 1 hose versus 5. And this hose really isn't a hoser, because you can flip the bike upside down, steep declines, steep inclines. Nothing comes out of this because, as you see right here, this is simply a check valve, if you will, to drain the bowl through the tube. Whilst the bike is running, this is closed, so nothing goes in or out of this tube. So it's a completely closed system, and I think that's probably part of the reason why it has a lot better fuel efficiency. Now, when you look at something like this, it's like, yeah, it's beautiful, but yeah, it's like 700 bucks. And that's an extra 700 bucks you're gonna have to spend on your bike. So is that 700 bucks worth it? Well, everyone's gonna have their own answer for that. So we're not here to determine that. But here's why we're putting it on our Christmas giveaway bike is we believe we wanna do the best that we can. And this has some characteristics that we like and we think you'll like too. One of the main things you're gonna see in this versus the Keihin or carbureted, you're gonna see a significant increase in range. That means you get a ride further when you go out. You get to pack less gas. You're looking 20, 30% minimum. I think part of that is whether you tip the bike over, you're doing an extreme decline, extreme incline, you're not losing any fuel out of the overflow because there is no overflow. It's a closed system. Also, as far as adjustment, you never have to take the thing apart. Basically, your throttle cable comes into here, it's universal. You push this down, it clicks. It essentially moves the metering rod, if you will, leaner or richer. So you can make your adjustments on the trail, no tools, don't have to take anything apart, which, you know, the Keihin's not super difficult, but this is a heck of a lot easier. For some reason, when we test these, there is no doubt, at least on the Sherco 300s, the bike runs a bit smoother. And some of you scientists out there maybe know why. I don't know exactly why. Maybe that the delivery of fuel is smoother and more consistent, so it makes the engine feel smoother. But no doubt, when you take it down the road or you take it out and we switch them back and forth, the bike feels like the engine has a more smoother delivery of power. I've had some people say, a couple, that, well, maybe it doesn't feel like it has the same hit as the Keihin. I'm not sure. You know, you have some of the pro riders out there, Cody Webb, our Keith Curtis, they desire the power of Grayskull. And quite honestly, I don't know how many of you out there can hold on to the power of Grayskull and how long you can do it and accurately navigate and pilot your bike at full tilt on any 300 of any brand. Pretty tough. But for most people, no doubt, the 99%, I think it's going to provide plenty of power. The other thing I like about it, the Keihin is cast. The entire Smart Carb is CNC. So it's accurate. It's made in the USA. During these days, none of these are on shipping containers, dude. Sitting out in the Bay of California. These are made in the US. Pretty trick. So anyways, you're gonna look at seeing 20 to 30% increase in fuel economy, either from the metering of fuel as it uses it or not dumping it on inclines and declines. Smart Carb likes to say it'll give you a 10% increase in power. We haven't been able to verify that. We know that there's plenty of power at hand. Definitely makes the bike run a bit smoother. Feels smoother, feels more electric. So long story short, as we look at the Smart Carb versus the Keihin, man, this thing, Keihin works awesome and it comes with your bike. So can't fault it for that. Maybe if you want a little bit more performance, especially, no doubt, fuel economy and having a bike that runs smoother and being able to adjust with no tools, it's a Smart Carb for sure. So for putting the baddest 300 two-stroke together, the Inside Enduro built bike, we're gonna spend the extra dough and go with the Smart Carb 36. This bad boy will be on there. You can also purchase these at InsideEnduro.com. Get your tickets online, InsideEnduro.com. You could have this bike and this carb at your house. So here we go. Happy holidays. We make enduro. Good luck, everybody.